Hello, my viewers. Welcome back to more Esports Talk After Dark, the little wee hours of the Las Vegas night. We are now back for a second show, this one revolving around another Asian region topic out there, but a huge one at that. And yes, you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, China is now fighting back against video game addiction and trying to limit their younger ones to less gameplay, but with some very, very strict guidelines. I do need to shout out as well, my podcast partner Zan has been talking about this for quite some time. It has now finally come to fruition via traditional media over here, has gone viral across many Reddit forums, as well as CNN now bringing it up, guys. Chinese regulations and guidelines now set to be in place with some giant gaming platforms, a lot of games over in China, and Tencent themselves, which, by the way, pretty much every Chinese distribution has to run through Tencent to be successful, and most of your large games out there also have some sort of tie to Tencent. So this is a huge, huge thing, but it might not be as bad as it sounds, because when you first read these articles, well, it does sound very bad. Limited now, by the way, if you are a Chinese resident with those ID numbers which they go by, those same ID numbers or IDs you go by also apply to the games you do play. So pretty much a game you play is connected to your personal ID. And so with that, if you are under the age of 18, they are now harshly limiting the amount of time you can play, both on weekends as well as weekdays. During the week, you are now limited to 90 minutes per day. Alongside that, on weekends and holidays are the only times you can actually play upwards of 3 hours per day on weekends and holidays. And also alongside that, you are limited to no gameplay if you are under the age of 18 from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. every single day. Can you imagine if this was trying to be enforced worldwide, the kind of turmoil we'd be in right now, and my job relies on you guys playing video games? That is insane. 90 minutes per day during the week, up to 3 hours on weekends and holidays, and you can't play it all from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. Children uprise, but do not fear quite yet. Whenever I talk about these kind of stories, I love reaching out to our girl known as Flora. She's our Chinese source as well. She always gives us great insight on the general consensus over there, or at least somewhat of the response over in the Chinese region. Alongside that, it's not just her. All across the Reddit, other forums, the responses are quite ideally around the same idea of this. If you are under the age of 18, it seems pretty lackluster in terms of enforcement, because you can easily acquire the ID of someone else who is actually not 18 and actually older than that. So let's say you're a minor, guys, you're less than 18 years old, you're 15, 16, 17 years old, but you acquire the ID of a 54-year-old, of a 35-year-old. All of a sudden, those gaming restrictions cannot be placed on you because you've taken the identity of someone else who is much older, and thus the restrictions no longer apply to you. Thanks to Flora, other Reddit sources as well have now been talking all about this, guys. It seems to be pretty easy to come by these IDs, although I'm not sure how easy. It seems the general consensus is not too many minors will be affected by this, although certainly there will be some. There will be some of those 17 and younger year olds out there who can acquire IDs that obviously will work for them, and that does suck. So this will make some sort of precedence and some sort of move for that general demographic. When it comes time for a lot of the gamers out there in China, though, a lot of them are either 18 plus and adults. This will not apply to them. And the other part of that people, they're actually going to find other IDs to use so these restrictions and guidelines do not apply to their accounts. It will have some impact. I don't think it's going to be near as hefty, though, as we think it will be. It just depends how far the enforcement does go and how deeply Tencent, other companies, actually do go to look into who is playing their games and who is possibly faking the IDs they're using. And the main reason why they're trying to enforce all these things, it's pretty self-explanatory in itself. They're trying to kind of hinder the video game addiction, which could start at a very young age. I think it's by 2020. We have health associations out there that are going to classify video games as a possible addiction to the many lists of addictions out there, which, you know, tends to make sense. Alongside that, the main point here is for physical and the mental health of those children, alongside video game addiction, and also nearsightedness of playing video games on your phone or computer all day. Apparently nearsightedness is also a result of that. And then very lastly, just trying to restrict as well, possibly in the future, the amount of purchases that minors can make in game, which I'm all for. Me and Zan are all about that, my podcast partner. If you can somehow stop minors from actually having microtransactions, I'm all for that. The rest of this, though, is going for the overall health of minors in China, and they are slowly trying to enforce that 18 and under, you pretty much can't play video games anymore. So obviously a very widely regarded rule out there. I think there are many ways as of right now to bypass it. That's the consensus I've been gathering as well. I'll hopefully have future updates for all you guys. China is now fighting back. Can you imagine if the entire world takes on these rulings? we might have an uproar. We might have a riot. And if we do, I'll be right here to join you guys in that riot. Until next time, I hope you guys all enjoy the late night esports talk show. My name is Jake. I'll see you guys all back here tomorrow, breaking down further gaming and esports news. If you guys have a story for me, feel free to drop me a DM or a comment down below. Until next time, take care, play video games. All you want.